So this is pretty funny. I'm with my grandsons right now. And my youngest one he's definitely a carbohydrate sugar guy. I mean, he just, if he could eat that all the time, he would. But his
Yeah.
good thing his parents don't let him do that. But he's with grandma right now. So I let him buy a box of Honey Nut Cheerios because that's his favorite thing. And he started reading the label. And he, even at 12 years old, he goes, "Oh, this has a lot of sugar in it. What is this name?" He couldn't even pronounce it, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. So eating those kinds of foods will impact our gut bacteria. We won't be giving it the good food to help reproduce the bacteria. And then also we'll be doing things to damage it and actually create a bad environment, like a yeast, too much yeast, too much fungus, these types of things. So we want to eat the foods that feed the good bacteria and keep it multiplying. And if you've ever been in a chemistry class and looked at bacteria under a microscope, it multiplies really fast.
Yeah.
It's very, very fast. So let's talk about some of the foods that are prebiotic foods. Onions and garlic are wonderful prebiotic foods. And before someone puts it in the feed, or maybe later on, there are some people that can't eat these foods, right? There's some people that are on very restricted diet. So obviously, if you know your diet and you know the foods you can't have, some people have allergies to, or intolerances to onions and garlic. But I'm going to just tell you the foods that are probably the top foods for feeding your gut bacteria. So onions and garlic are in there.
Well, let me comment about that. So onion and garlic, yeah. So for me, if I eat too much onion and garlic, it actually upsets my stomach. And
Mm-hmm.
so the way that I get around with it is I have to make sure I don't eat too much raw onion and garlic.
Yeah.
So I have to cook it. So if I cook it, I can eat as much as I want and it won't bother me.
Yeah.
So an FYI, if any of y'all that are watching, we got 120 people watching. If you love onion and garlic, which it's great for you and it upsets your stomach, I'm not talking about bad breath, okay? Everybody's gonna have bad breath after you eat onion and garlic. You can't get around that. But if it upset your stomach like it does for me, then just cook it. Don't eat it raw.
Yeah. And the next question someone's going to ask is, it still do the same job if it's cooked?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, not as much, but it
Yeah.
still will. Yes, absolutely. So
And
the next one is Danny
let me just say
Lang.
really, let me just say really quick about cooking. Yeah. So
Okay.
cooking does it breaks up the bonds, the chemical bonds within a food. So it does change the food, right? So is it
Mhm.
still worth eating it? Yes, it is. So you can also find, and Chris is gonna introduce other prebiotic foods. So if onions and garlic upset your stomach raw and you want to get some prebiotics, then Chris is going to go over other choices.
Yeah. And dandelion greens is another one. But then, of course, that is going to be cooked. Raw dandelion greens, probably not an easy to digest food. And so, let me just stop for a moment here and talk about kale, because kale became like the superfood and everybody was eating kale all the time. And these cruciferous vegetables like that, eating them raw every day can actually impact your thyroid function. So they also are very high oxalate foods, and sometimes that's a problem for people with kidney issues. So I don't recommend eating cruciferous raw every day, but cruciferous cooked, again, is a different molecular concept for your body. So you can eat more of it cooked than you can raw. But dandelion greens, I would definitely say you want to cook them. The next one is leeks, which is in the garlic and onion family, right? And leeks are wonderful. A lot of people don't eat leeks, but I love eat leeks, leek soup. I make a fish in the oven with, I put topping on it, and it includes leeks, and they get little kind of like little onion ring, crispy little onion ring things. They're really yummy. So it's a good place. Asparagus is another one. Asparagus is a great prebiotic food. It's very high in sulfur. So that's also good for your liver detoxification. So asparagus is kind of a double whammy there. It's a great one. Bananas on the green side. So not really overripe bananas, but bananas that are more on the green side are going to be better for the prebiotics. And apples Apples are great, and they're full of apple pectin, which is a great fiber. Mushrooms. I actually did a video for a short video for us on shiitake mushrooms. And of course, in your culture, Jimmy, mushrooms are a big food, right? I mean, you
Oh
eat a
yeah,
lot. Yeah,
we cook them in soup, stir fry, all types of mushrooms, not just shiitake,
right.
small, big ones. Um, yeah, mushrooms are like uh almost I wouldn't say a staple, but it's commonly used. Actually,
Yeah,
I wanted to comment about it just came into my brain when you're talking about leeks. So leeks, we stir fry that with eggs. So in Asian culture, we stir fry that with eggs. We also make dumplings. So we mix it into the dumplings. And we make leek dumplings. And another thought came to my brain was like we're talking about the asparagus, leeks, garlic, like all of these foods, these prebiotics make
yeah,
something in us stink. Think about
yeah,
it,
yeah,
right? Because the
yeah,
garlic is like your breath stinks, leeks,
yeah,
your breath really stink, and asparagus, we all know your
yeah,
urine.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
funny.
But they're, you know what? Garlic, onions, leek, and asparagus are awful are sulfur foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all high in sulfur, which is all really good for your liver detoxification. So I will tell people, if they, the asparagus thing, when you go to the bathroom and you smell, I said, actually, you're detoxing. That's a really good thing. It's helping your liver move it to the second phase of detox. So that's a really good one. Savoy cabbage is my last one I have for you. So Savoy cabbage, also the Asian culture uses this more than we do. But I love, you could stir fry Savoy cabbage. I have a Savoy cabbage salad that I loved. Actually an Asian chicken salad that I make with Savoy cabbage. And most of the grocery stores have Savoy cabbage, but it looks kind of like more like a romaine head romaine head of
Mm.
lettuce. Is kind of a different shape versus we're used to seeing our round cabbage. But cabbage, I'm sure that was Savoy cabbage, but I'm sure cabbage in general. And again, that's something for some people that they don't digest well. Raw cabbage gives them a lot of gas. So I have I have a lot of recipes for cooking cabbage, and I'll do it even in my crock pot, or I'll do it as a stir fry. But cabbage is a wonderful food. Those are some of the top prebiotic foods. And there's been a lot of talk about fermented foods. Fermented foods are actually probiotics. They already have they help, with the good bacteria, but the fermented foods are wonderful as well, like sauerkraut and kimchi and kefir. Your yogurt, as long as it doesn't have a bunch of sugar in it, right? Your plain yogurts and stuff like that. Kombucha, which is I've actually made homemade kombucha. You can watch it ferment. It's pretty amazing. So fermented foods are wonderful for the gut too. So I really encourage people, instead of depending upon a bottle of probiotics, because you're only going to get a few strains.
Mhm.
If you look at a probiotic bottle, you're going to see, someone might have 3 or 4 strains. And we have tens of thousands of strains of bacteria in our gut. So the resistant starch is a prebiotic, and then a lot of these foods that I mentioned are prebiotics. So they are going to, I always say that you're sending down some lunch or dinner for those good bacteria. They want food, they want food. It's no different than your soil for a garden. If you're
Yeah.
going to have good vegetable garden, then you're going to want to put some good mulch in there, some good, cow manure or stuff like that in there, and help grow that there's lots of bacteria in that ground, right? So
Yeah.
think about your gut as a garden. It truly is a garden. So those are some tips for having a good, healthy gut microbiome.
Yeah. And I would say, yeah, if you ever make your kombucha, or make sure you film it, because like it reminds me of like my parents. My parents make that, and so they
Oh,
do
do they?
different types. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
they get these big glass jars,
Mm-hmm.
huge glass jars, and they'll throw vegetables, into it,
Yeah.
throw some biotics, and one of the jars will be vinegar, right? They'll use vinegar to soak it. The other one they'll use like a minimum of 40 proof vodka. And so and basically, uh, I believe we eat the ones that are in the vinegar, and
Yeah.
then the ones that is in the vodka. When we go back to Taiwan, they'll give me a shot of it before I go to bed. And
Oh,
so,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, growing up, I used to hate that when they do that, but now I see the benefit of it. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but they soak it for 3 months. So it has to be under a cabinet, closed doors, no light, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
anaerobic, so it has to be in a closed, dark space. So they soak it for 3 months before they even start, drinking or eating it.
What's in it? What's in it with the vodka? What do they put in there?
Same similar things, just vegetables they throw in. They'll throw in, for example, even peels. Like you eat the fruit, they'll
Yeah.
get a fruit, eat it, get the peel, and just throw it into the container.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't waste. We use everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, somebody in our private Facebook group, because we're doing lemon juice in the morning, right? For that group right now with their program they're going through. And she mentioned, don't throw away the peel of the lemon, put it in vinegar and let it sit. And then she uses that as a cleaning product.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.